Hello, everyone. Technology has gotten to the point where electric vehicles are now a suitable replacement for most Canadians, even with increasingly long commutes, as cited by the Canadian Census in around the 2019 timeframe. A commute like one from Chilliwack to Vancouver is a one-way trip of 62 kilometers. So any EV built after 2017 can easily fulfill those commuting needs. Come home at night at 50% and take 10 seconds to plug in your EV in the driveway. And the very next day, magically, there's full battery there. Same plug that you use to plug your phone in with. As gas prices continue on an unpredictable roller coaster ride and oil companies reap record profits, well, it's no wonder that people are interested in EVs. Even those that are seemingly against them can't stop talking about them. Right? Just more publicity for the entire category. Now, I know the sticking point of EV ownership recently has been the ability to buy one. Shady car dealers are adding market adjustments to the MSRP, which has not spared the used market. It's been crazy out there. And waiting lists are ranging from a year, 3. How can you blame people for having a bleak outlook and increasingly a hostility to those people that have made the choice to switch before it was all cool? Winston, what has been your experience trying to get onto the EV waitlist?
Well, you're looking at least a year to 2 years waiting list if you want to buy brand new. Me and my wife just kind of placed the order. Well, literally like 3 months ago, and they said the earliest you'll get it is the end of 2023, and that's the normal, normal ID4. It's a Volkswagen kind of mini SUV style kind of car, but yeah, it's looking at waiting list is not looking good. You're looking at least a year to 2 years. But if you do buy second hand or used market, the price is probably literally as costs just as much as literally a brand new one. So, you know, it's a bleak market, for secondhand or even But if you're willing to wait, then next year is going to be a massive bump in terms of EVs on the road, because gas prices have fluctuated like crazy, mostly on the upside, and so people are fed up of having to fill up the gas tank, having to wait up in a line in the queue, especially when prices go up and stuff like that. So you have the convenience of charging it at home. You get your what are those, what do you call them, the power charging conversions that you have installed in your home, and that's pretty much it. But still, it's something that you need to plan. You can't just say, okay, I'll get it next week. You can't. You're looking at a year to 2 years waiting list. An example is my brother bought the Iconic 5. It's a Hyundai. He had to wait about like a year, but it got delivered. In fact, a good thing about these cars, especially EVs, they deliver it to your house, which is quite strange, rather than you go and pick it up. And I think it gives you that sense of better sales kind of pitch, where people actually, the salesperson actually drive the car to your premises or to your house, and then show you all how to use an EV, because it's not like a traditional car, conventional car. There's a lot of buttons, and you need to like do this, do that. But once you get the hang of it, it's literally driving like a computer, right?
Yeah. In a lot of ways, it is a little bit different, but not too much different. You just have to be told one time to think about doing something a certain way. And for all of those that are reaping the benefits of profits by investing in oil companies, I don't know if I can say shame on you. I mean, you did make a profit off that. You're probably also driving an electric car because of those windfall profits, which is ironic. But anyway, Winston is much cooler than I am. Overall, he's got all the brands and everything. I don't. I'm still wearing some trade show t-shirts around the house. But I guess, I'm pretty cool too now, because I adopted the EV life before everyone else woke up to the benefits. Case in point, I walked onto the lot. I traded in my old car, which was also an EV, and I walked off the lot with one. I bartered, and, that was the way for me. And this was less than 2 years ago, which means that the landscape has changed significantly, but it also means that it's in a bubble. It's about to burst anytime soon. So, like, to be perfectly honest, there are huge benefits. Like right now, as it stands, when I got my vehicle in August, it turned 12 months. right?
Mhm.
And in 12 months, I used my total cost of operation. And this is what a lot of people don't take into consideration. Is like the sticker price. The sticker price is all that matters. No, the sticker price is only one factor in how much the vehicle will actually cost you over the cost of the lifetime of the vehicle, right?
Right.
My total running cost in 36,000 kilometers was $1,187. I have a spreadsheet. I put every single fast charging session, every single month of hydro bill devoted to the EV, and every single service, which was like $105, which included a tire rotation and everything like that. That was plus. Oh, don't forget car washes and washer fluid, and it's $1,187 to drive it for 12 months compared to my other vehicle, which was a V6 SUV, which I drove actually a little bit less kilometers. It was cost me like $600 a month in gas alone a month.
Hold on.
So
Did you say that was a hybrid car?
no, it was not.
Oh,
it was a V6. It was a 3.6 liter V6, which is actually a reflection of what most people in North America drive. The SUV is the vehicle of choice. My new vehicle is, and we'll talk about it a little bit later on because it's one of the choices that I have here for people looking at new vehicles, and maybe we can learn something from that. It's a compact SUV, right? But to be perfectly honest, we haven't actually noticed any less space to begin with, because usually electric powered vehicles have a lot more space inside because there's no drivetrain.
Oh yeah.
All that is gone, right?
Yeah.
So, like it's a moot point. You can have a smaller vehicle, you can have a more efficient vehicle, and you can also have the same amount of people in the same space, which is great. So, like there was it's just amazing how fewer parts there are in an EV. One time I hit a rock hit the fuel filter thing in the back of my vehicle. Almost $2,000 to replace it with labor, $1,200 for like the part and what it broke. I'm like, forget this. Like this is ridiculous. So EV ownership in the last year, and I've driven way more than I have ever driven in my EV. I've driven across Canada. I've actually gone to a place called Kimberley, BC, which I've never actually been to.
Is that north?
I've only heard.
Right.
What?
Is that north of where we are?
That's across. That's
going
towards
across.
Alberta.
Okay.
Along the bottom of the border.
Oh right. Oh,
right.
Is that where they had that kind of scenic, picturesque of the lake? Is that?
Oh, it's all scenic and picturesque, but this particular place has a ski resort, and it is it's like a little town that you would see inside either Bavaria or Switzerland. It has the clock and everything like that. It looks. Yeah. It's just a really nice, friendly place to visit, and I highly recommend doing the drive. It was a good drive. It took us almost all day to get there, but it was reachable.
Yeah.
And in an EV, it was actually fantastic because the road is so flat.
So how many miles was that from your home driving there?
Over 1,000 kilometers.
Over 1,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
And for your car EV, how long did it take? I mean, in terms of like, do you need to charge halfway? Of course you need that. But
there were only 3 major charges that we needed to make. This was in the middle of summer.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, lunch, break, pee break, dinner, lunch.
Okay. So charge 3 times to get there. And each charge, how long did it take? Like
45 minutes.
45 minutes per charge.
Yeah. And we made them longer charges mainly because of what we're going to eat.
Have the eat.
I don't want to chase. The car sometimes is faster than I am. And, we plotted our route to extend, to use as much of the battery as possible.
Yeah. I mean, most people, when they drive long distances and they go to a service station, they take a break, they usually hang around, have a coffee anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe, if there's a couple of shops, they might buy some supplies and stuff like that. And that could take half hour anyway. Right.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, this 5-minute fill up is a myth. By the time you get out of your truck, you stick the thing inside, you scratch your butt, you go inside the station, you pee, you come out, the truck's already done gassing up, but the thing is that you, the human, has taken longer than the vehicle.
Oh yeah, you need a break. I mean, stretch your legs, whatever, and like have a coffee. You don't drink a coffee in like 2 minutes, right? You need at least 10, 15 minutes.
Honestly, on a road trip, I've never remembered a pit stop that was shorter than 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, definitely got
ever.
Especially if you have a family of 4 or 5, and each of them takes time to go to the toilet, do their thing. kids.
Like once you actually take a stopwatch out and you actually quantify it, you have objective data that says this is how long it takes. I've waited for everyone to get into the vehicle again. Stop. You're exaggerating.
Yeah, it's gonna take at least half hour at least per break, service station break. So you know, if you travel like 1,000 kilometers, 3 breaks, that's okay. I mean,
3 breaks is a minimum. Like you have to pee at some point because you're drinking stuff in the car. It's also summer. It's hot.
That's right. Even me driving from London back to Cardiff, back in the UK, that's only 280 maybe ish kilometers. I take a break halfway.
Of course you do.
You know, that's only 120. I take a break then, and I'll do another.
I mean, so you're grumpy because your back hurts.
Oh yeah, you're sitting in the car for like hours. Come on, you gotta take a break. I mean,
yeah, you gotta take care of your health, right? I mean, you know that's very important, right? So, and also you're dangerous to the people on the road if you're too tired, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that are saying, "Oh, my tank can travel 800 kilometers on a single fill up." Are you really going to drive 800 kilometers without a break?
Impossible.
Are you going to endanger everyone on the road because you are being a putz? Right? You are not going to do that.
And if you do one of these trips, it's more of like I said, it's like a road trip, right? And you enjoy your driving experience. A lot of people don't understand, especially when I'm in Hong Kong. The guys, they don't drive. It's not like they drive to work. They drive to work, go back home, whatever, and stuff like that. And they're always rushing. I'm trying to explain this concept. I say, like, when people drive out in Canada, US, UK, they enjoy the drive. It's an experience. It's a relaxation thing, right? Sometimes I'm bored, or if I'm having some thoughts, I just need to get out of the house, right? And you just jump in the car, you drive.
Listen to podcasts like this one.
Yeah, exactly. And the destination doesn't matter where it is. No. You just get in the car, you drive, and you enjoy that drive. And that's the thing. The thing that you need to understand, that, people get to places, yes, I understand, destination A to B, but during that destination, you need to enjoy that drive. And I like that, so yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting how this has become because air travel is getting expensive again. It's also flights are getting canceled all the time. It's not the most how should I say, relaxing type of trip, and I'm about to take off as well too, so I'm not looking forward to what may come in terms of dragging a family into an airport. But like a road trip, we have control of that. We have control of the experience. We can see more of the country from our vehicle and stop and maybe get some berries or go down to the lake or look at the things that are outside our window. We have a more richer and better experience, and maybe have a coffee in a little town where there's a tiny roastery and you can talk to the people there, right? I mean, connections, right? You don't, like, if you drive 500 kilometers, if you drive 500 kilometers, that's 5 hours of driving where you're peeing into a bottle and you're eating chocolate bars. I mean, how fun is that, right? And who wants to smell your pee when you have like 3 kids in the back? No one does, right? Ridiculous. At any rate,
I mean, what's the I think you'll probably cover that later on in the show, but I mean, when you drive long distances, I think one of the worries about a lot of people concerned is, will I know how much left in kilometers for the next service station, right? In a gas vehicle, you know how much your tank is, how much miles or kilometers a full tank gas will get you. But with an EV, I think they're worried that, hey, hold on, if I switch on my heater, on seat heaters, if I switch on this, switch on that, it'll all use up the battery juice, right?
Yeah.
And therefore you'll have less mileage. And I think they're worried that because the mileage is variable, it doesn't give you that accurate kind of reading for your next, the next service station to get charged.
It's actually, to be perfectly, objectively honest with you, an EV range meter, the gasometer, is actually a more accurate representation minute by minute of what your actual range is. The meter in a gas tank can only figure it out at certain intervals, right? And then your tank gets you get the light on it, and then you're empty, right? An EV knows by charge, by a whole number of different factors, how much range you truly have, right? It's actually more accurate
All right. So does it actually
by a lot.
does it become, for example, right? You're driving at sport mode, right?
Yeah.
EV now. You're driving at sport mode, so that uses a lot of battery juice, right? Because you're sport mode, right?
Potentially.
Yeah. So the EV will detect that, hey, your battery juice is getting lower. So will it actually automatically go down to the eco mode? Like, or was
that's your choice, right? But
Right.
it will. But if you get down to, and this is with a gas vehicle as well too, when you get down to fumes, the vehicle goes into knock mode, or like the engine is about to die mode, and it will slow down your vehicle no
Okay.
matter what you do, right? I
Okay.
mean, these things are built in there for a reason, right? Because they don't want you to go all the way to empty,
Yeah.
because if you're sucking nothing into your engine, it can damage your engine as well
right,
too.
right. So
You know?
we've all heard stories about people in the middle of the highway or road, and the Tesla's is dead, right? Because
Yeah.
there's no battery, and then
Well,
the guy
let
comes
me-
along with petrol in a pickup
Yeah.
truck just to fill it up, but it's not fill up; it's battery to
Well, let
battery
me
charger.
let me put it this way: during our 12 hours of hell, which happened in the Lower Mainland, British Columbia, this is one of the rare major snowfalls in the area where no one's prepared. We never heard a single story of an EV getting stuck on the bridge.
Right.
And this happened on a couple of the bridges.
Yeah.
People were actually stuck there overnight in their vehicles, and they had to stay there, or they had to find another way home, where they walked, right? So did we hear, and if EVs were dying and people had to tow them, why are we
Right.
not hearing more stories about that actually happening? Well, the reason why is because when an EV is actually sitting still with no movement,
Right.
its battery management system and its climate controls use less than a kilowatt. So if everyone leaves their home with at least with 100% range on a 60 kilowatt hour battery, and they return home with half of it, how many hours, do the math, how many hours of battery life and also climate control do you have with 50% of a 60 kilowatt battery using 1 kilowatt per hour?
No, you get 60
You have 30
hours, right?
hours
30 hours.
in the car.
Yeah.
You have 30 hours in the car, and you know that. So what's wrong? What's the deal, right?
Yeah. 30 hours of just idling on a gas
I'm just sitting
car would
Right?
probably
I'm
just
sitting there.
burn up that gas tank like nobody's business.
There is a
right?
calculation. It says that it's you use point something of a liter every hour that you idle. I think it's 0.2.
All right. So
just sitting there.
just
You
sitting
lose
there.
you lose 20% of a liter every hour that you sit there.
So
if you left your home with with less than half a tank, and you're using 0.2 or something, like I know there's a calculation for it. This is like off. You were already using gas.
Yeah. So it's like literally you get like a liter. It's like a couple of hours, 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. There's an Enercan calculation, and everyone should know this. Actually, if they get stuck out in the cold in Canada, you should actually know this information. So if you have half a tank, you know that you have a 50-liter tank or something like that. Like it varies, of course, right?
Yeah.
Then you can calculate how long that you can stay in the vehicle until you have a problem. The other problem is that carbon monoxide, right? There are good filters inside vehicles these days, but and these are not things that people normally think of, but even Ford and Toyota had a massive recall for carbon monoxide issues with their vehicles idling for too long. And these are things that, well, I don't talk about that.
That's right,
because it's not an issue.
Yeah, because carbon monoxide is odorless. You won't even, you don't even, you can't smell it. And if it gets into your car, the filters are, faulty, whatever, then you could be breathing in that and you could be knocked out. Because without even knowing, because it's odorless, you don't know about it. It's literally,
You also affect everyone around you as well, too.
Yeah. And if you're in a cold, you're not going to leave it engine idling while having your windows open, right?
Yeah.
So
it gets sucked into the HVAC system, it gets circulated into your vehicle, and then you die.
Yeah.
Right.
Not good.
Those are not good things. So if we talk about EVs dying in the snow, in the winter at -10, then we must talk about people dying of carbon monoxide poisoning as well too. Does it happen?
Yeah.
Infrequently. We don't want that to happen, but at the same time, though, it's rare.
Yeah.
Just like an EV dying on a bridge using HVAC, using heat, like that's the big picture, and the math shows it.
Yeah.
You can actually see it on your dashboard that says, oh, I'm only using 0.5 of a kilowatt right now. I guess I could turn it down a few more notches. I'm okay,
true.
right? I'm fine, right? And you know that it's right. It's sitting right there. It's not like you can get away from that. You can do the calculation in your head, even if you failed math.
Well, yeah. So there are plenty of benefits and advantages versus disadvantages for an EV versus a gas car. So tell us a little bit about that in today's podcast. So what have you got for us?
Well, so in today's podcast show, I wanted to give you some ideas of what kind of EVs are out in the market today. First of all, like ones that you can actually buy, and the best of what 2022 has offered us.
Right.
So most of these vehicles were shipping throughout the year. I tried to cut out the vehicles that did not ship in most of the year. So I didn't mention a lot of them, obviously, for obvious reasons. And, like, others may exist, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the ones that are in the pipeline, but might actually be shipping right now. There are brands that are like on boats right now, and I think that due to a number of factors, and we'll talk about it at the end there, because there are some future looking things that I think that will give people some hope that they're going to they might actually get their EV next year. We'll see. Yeah. But maybe some tips and tricks to pass on to you. So moving on right here, I want to talk about and directly address affordability, right?
Yeah.
EVs right now are not cheap. They were 2 years ago because no one was buying them, because no one was scrambling for gas. But 2 years ago, they were cheap. I picked up a Chevrolet Bolt EV 2017 model for $28,000. Cheap.
Cheap.
That's cheap, right? Over 365 kilometers of range, price $383. And it was still under warranty, 8-year warranty on all EVs.
8-year warranty on that?
8-year warranty on batteries.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
There was a recall on that vehicle, but GM did take care of everything like that. It was a bit of a learning curve for GM, because traditionally they are a internal combustion engine vehicle company. So they've been doing that for a very long time, as everyone realizes. And it took them a while to basically figure out the logistics of getting these batteries in to replace every single one. Not a fault of GM themselves. It was a fault of their partner, LG Chem, who actually manufactured the batteries with a tab, several tabs that were sticking out that would actually create a spark inside the battery. The software was built, was actually, there were a couple software fixes that limited that situation. And, this was, unfortunate for everyone at scale, right? Because there were so many vehicles already out there. Right. So every single one was recalled, and every single one was taken care of. And as the batteries changed, they get a new warranty.
Could you give an example of how long a recall takes? For example, right, you get the message or you get the email, oh, your call is being selected for recall. You take it to the service center, and you leave it there for days or hours. Or give user an idea how long a recall takes.
Depends on what kind of recall it is. If it's a motor, you're looking at a day anyway.
Right.
They have to.
So they're gonna have to get the parts in to the service center.
Yeah, they won't call you until the parts are in.
Right. Okay. So you heard the message. You only know the recall through that email or the message. Then you take the car, and they would have the parts ready for it. Okay. Got you.
Yeah, you'd have to call the number. You'd have to get your place in line, obviously, that you want the recall done. In the case of GM, a lot of people, unfortunately, this was a mass execution of a very big plan to get a lot of service centers across the country into a state and trained so that they can do the battery replacement. Right. And the battery replacement itself isn't actually that difficult. All you basically need to do is disconnect the terminals, few bolts, drop the battery on a special, and this is the part that's an issue, drop the battery down on a special scissor hoist, put that away, bring the other battery up, put it back in the same places, put the sealant up there, bolt it back in, reconnect the thing, initialize the battery, have a nice day.
Okay, so if it's a simple battery exchange like that, it could take just a couple of hours and at the most half a day, right?
I would probably say half a day. I think that reports have been saying is that, the really good shops can do them in half a day because they've been trained to do so, right? Right. So it does take a little bit of teaching and learning and doing the first few very slowly, in order to do the rest of them fast, right?
Because I think a lot of people worried about, because they have say, a car, and they need that car to do a lot of, stuff they need to do.
Then you have a loaner.
Exactly, yeah. So I guess if you have an 8-year warranty on that, and the car dealership is really good with the service centers and all that kind of stuff, you get a good deal with the dealership.
Well, my old Bolt, which I purchased in 2019 for the very first time, it has gone on to its next owner, and it now has an 8-year warranty on it.
Oh, additional 8-year.
Yeah, because the battery just went in.
Oh, right. So it's not based on the actual running of the car.
The battery,
the battery life.
Yeah, the battery life will be 8 years now.
So you sold it to another person.
I traded it in. I have no idea who.
All right. Okay. You traded it in. So when you traded it in, did you get a good amount back for it?
I got $23,000 back
from a $28,000 car.
Yep.
So that's like you need
the $5,000 was actually all gas and maintenance.
But then you drove it for how many years?
2.
You drove it for 2 years. You literally paid $5,000 then. About-ish.
Yeah, almost 2 years. Yeah.
So $2,500 per year. That's
you know what? I'm like,
and you saved on your gas, right?
Almost $500 to $600 a month when I was driving a lot.
Well, there you go. Wow. So there you go. $500. Sorry,
that's $2,500 a year. There's no oil changes either. I didn't pay for any oil changes. I paid for a $79 service twice.
Amazing.
So even a car like that, if you care, like, let's just put it this way: if you compare it heads up to a Volkswagen Jetta, which is a very popular vehicle, 8.5 liters per 100 kilometers. If you bought one for $20,000 and the Bolt for $28,000, and I know that $20,000 Volkswagen Jettas exist out there,
right?
You bought it for that $8,000 difference would be erased within the next year. So year 2, you're basically upside down on the Jetta, and you can't afford to drive it anymore.
Yeah,
if that was your budget.
So
right?
So literally, what you're saying is EV holds its price currently, right now.
EV holds its price heavily right now, and EVs also completely changed the way that your total cost of ownership calculation works. So if you drove $36,000, like, let's just put it this way, 36. I base it on my usage. If I drove a Jetta for 36,000 kilometers in the first year, I would be upside down completely within the second year. I would actually be so much further under without the EV than with the EV.
Right.
That $8,000 difference would have been erased.
Okay.
Period. Right.
So, talking about the Chevy Bolt, do they have the new models for this year?
The Chevy Bolt is probably one of your more affordable options that are available because they have domestic production.
Right.
This is one of the differences between all the other brands right now, is that domestic production is set up at GM. I believe there is they're usually in the US right now, but I think that they are already, or maybe already set up a plant in Ontario that is turning out Bolts. I'm not sure exactly which one that is, but because they are so accessible and they can be shipped right over the border, just like Teslas, which are made here as well too, the delivery times are very short. So I had a friend who purchased a Chevy Bolt EV. He waited 6 months for it. He got it
6 months. That's good.
Just 3 months ago, I think. 3-4 months ago. And then his wife wanted one too. So 30 days later, not only did he have his car, but 30 days after that, his wife had her car as well too. And he bought the Chevy Bolt EV, which is basically it starts at $41,000, which for an EV is actually fairly inexpensive. Qualifies for both the $5,000 federal rebate and also whatever the province is willing to give you. And obviously in Alberta, it's basically nothing. But in BC, they'll give you up to $2,500.
That's not bad. So you can get rebate from that as well. So if you calculate the rebate into it, you're looking at 37. So I don't know, 33
plus tax minus the rebate. So it's after tax. So basically, you're getting your taxes back.
Oh, right. True. Okay, that's good.
So you're basically paying 41 clear, more or less, right?
I understand. Because you're
driving a vehicle that will not cost you any more than 14 cents a kilowatt hour at the highest rate. 0.10 at the lower rate with BC Hydro. So it's cheap to drive. It is absolutely cheap to drive. And then you visit the dealer every year for a $79 to $89 inspection.
Right.
So that's basically what you do.
Okay. So performance wise?
Performance-wise, this one it has 417 kilometers of range with a 65 kilowatt-hour battery. This is a newer battery that they put in, which is actually great. It's the same size, but more
juice,
more range, more juice inside. 0 to 60, it's a hot hatch. It's a low vehicle with a 6.5 second.
That's not bad. 6.5 for
it's faster than every Honda on the lot.
Yeah, 6.5 is not bad actually. Okay, so, tell us about the chargers and the charging.
So
types.
The reason why it's a value proposition is because it doesn't charge as quickly as some of the other models that we'll get to. And basically up to 55 kilowatt hour is your maximum with, and you know what, to be perfectly honest, most DC fast chargers right now that are deployed are 50 kilowatt hour chargers. So with a max 55 kilowatt hour, you're basically maxing out most DC fast chargers that are on the roads today.
And how long does it take?
You're looking at 1 hour plus from empty. Up to 80%. Okay. So this is one of the downsides of having this vehicle is that if you're not frequently driving it for road trips, it'll be fine. You basically go to a charger on your way home for 15, 20 minutes.
More of a town car.
It's more of a city, more of a suburban city commuter.
Yeah.
Than the road trip vehicle, which will work for almost everyone that drives, even from Abbotsford, Chilliwack. That's the 62 kilometers, right?
Randy.
62 kilometers there and back.
Yeah.
It's 124 kilometers on a maximum range of 417. You'll be charging it maybe every 2-3 days.
Right.
Maybe more days if you are very efficient, because 417 kilometers of stated range might actually be conservative once you figure out how to drive it correctly.
And for home charging?
For home charging, you're looking at like you can plug it into an AC charger.
Right.
Which is a regular wall plug. It comes with it, so you could charge it overnight, and you could regain those kilometers. That's plug in at 5 o'clock. The next morning at 7, you're good to go again, almost full. Or you can opt for a level 2 charger, which will get you topped up probably in 2 to 4 hours.
Okay. Max. Okay. So I think most people at home, if they do get an EV, they'll probably go for the what they call a level 2. Is that right? Charging?
Depends on where you are. I mean, there are also factors in terms of, do you have a garage? Are you living in shared accommodations in an apartment, right? And those are factors that everyone needs to look at for themselves, right?
But one more thing. Do people have to pay for these charges, or is that part of the package?
No. Well, there is fast charging in BC. There is you either take the charger that they include with it. This is a level 2 charger, which is not the same as the one that they give you with the vehicle, which is the AC charger, and that can be installed by a technician, or you can take a charging credit from any one of the BC Hydro or Flow chargers throughout Canada.
Right.
That's up to $750, I think, that you take with you. So that's a lot of charging. That's a long time.
All right.
Honestly, that's a long time. That's a lot of kilometers.
I think in my rental here, they sent an email or a notification to everybody who actually lives in this complex, and they said, well, we're going to install 4 chargers. I think they're level 2, and if you want to use it, you're going to have to buy this, like you said, the credits, right?
Yeah.
Or hook it up to your BC Hydro account, whatever, and then charge it and stuff like that. So, so I understand that makes sense, because if less cost for a user, because they don't have to pay for this charger to be installed at their complex, then all the better. If I have to fork out another $1,000 just to install this charger, I'd be like, what, But well, yeah,
even if you did have to fork out some money. BC Hydro is offering rebates anyway. They want you to install them in your home. Right. It also increases the resale value of your home. Guess what? I have a home with a fast charger in it. A new family wants to move in, and they're like, "Oh, I have to charge. Oh, wait, this one has a charger. That's worth a lot of money to me. I'm going to get this house instead."
Yeah,
it's already there.
And if I have a electric vehicle already, I don't have to get the hassle of just get an appointment to have it installed again and stuff like that. This house has already have it, and I'm choosing between this house and that house, and roughly about the same price, but then this one's slightly a bit more. Okay, I'm fine. I'll go with that because you already have the charger. Right.
It's already there, and because of all the money that you've saved from driving the electric vehicle, you can actually afford the down payment in the Lower Mainland of British Columbia.
Okay,
so it's financially helpful.
True.
Yes.
So best value, Chevrolet Bolt, but then what else does it include? What's the downside? Anything?
Well, there's really no downsides other than the fact that it drives a little bit, that it charges a little bit slower.
Mhm.
It is GM quality, so it does have. It's not as refined as some of the other vehicles. It's not as high tech. I felt that in my Bolt EV as well too. I did own one,
Mhm.
and the new version isn't that much different. It's just an update. There's like new battery, new finish, looks different, more futuristic and everything like that. But to me, it's still a Bolt EV, and I actually kind of love it. There's a very nice simplicity to it, but it's also high tech at the same time with the latest propulsion technology, right? There is no heat pump inside the Bolt EVs
Mhm.
currently, still not there. That is a premium option that goes into other vehicles out in the market. But for 41K, people, you're
Yeah.
getting a handsomely equipped LT version of the vehicle that has tons of storage room. I mean, it's huge inside. It may look like a hot hatch, but it's not small.
Right.
Not at all.
It's a budget kind of all rounder, which I think is good to start off with.
It's a great vehicle to start off with as your first EV. If you can buy one used, less than the rebates off of it, then you're doing really great. If you need a little more space, I would recommend checking out the Chevy Bolt EUV, which is a upsized version of it. Starts at $42,000, a little bit less range because it is fatter. But at the same time, though, if you do have a dog or something like that, and like a cat and a moose or something, you need to put in the back of your car, that's probably the one to go for. I would.
It's got a bit more room. Okay,
it's got a bit more room. It's not a lot more room, but it's taller.
All right.
And it's a little bit longer. So that might help people out with like if you're a little bit a taller guy, you might be more comfortable in the vehicle, of course, as well too. So that would be my pick for your absolute entry level. I didn't put the Leaf in here because the Leaf actually costs more money. It was one of the first EVs in the general market, but they've kind of Nissan themselves have kind of fallen behind the path because they also put out EVs. They've given the EV market a bad name, and that's mainly because they don't have liquid cooling inside. And this one of the main features of Bolt EVs, and that's why they're so superior, is the fact that they do have liquid cooling inside that keeps the battery from heating up, that keeps the and also warms up the battery when it needs to be warmed up, so it's easier to charge in the winter, and it prevents it from overheating in the summer when you're doing those DC fast charging stations when you're on the road as well too. So lots of benefits. Great vehicle. $41,000 starting price, more readily available than any of the other ones. So if you're looking for something to get into now in the EV space and maybe upgrade down the road, fantastic value. Totally recommend the Chevy Bolt EV right now.
Okay, nice. Okay, what's next? What have you got?
So I upgraded to another vehicle. I actually came from the Chevy Bolt EV myself. I had the 2017 model, more than paid for itself, basically net zeroed my costs out from the first 2 years. So I drove it for free.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
And I put some money in my pocket. And because of the because I needed the vehicle all the time because I drove a lot, I needed the vehicle pretty much right away. So after I got the GM bulletin for the battery recall, and they were nice about it and everything, they gave me some money for my troubles and everything like that while I waited. And they rolled out the service bulletin that actually restricted the battery to 80%, which is fine. I only charged to 80% because of battery longevity anyway, so it wasn't a big deal for me. I started looking for another vehicle that would be better for road trips, and of course charge faster, has a heat pump, has battery management system, and also just was an overall upgrade. So I went, and lucky enough, I was actually at the Kia dealership, and they had like 30 of these on the showroom floor.
All right.
The Kia Niro EV. I got the S6 Touring, which was the top trim level at the time. And that vehicle starts at 44. The one that I left with was 54 minus some haggling and discount. So I paid more, like 52 for
52. The highest level trim, right?
Yeah, highest level trim.
Yeah.
And because they had the most of them, they were motivated to move them at the time. They don't have to do that anymore now, but they wanted to move it.
Right.
It's because of the starting price of it. $7,500 in credit, $5,000 federal, $2,500 provincial. May vary depending on the province that you're in, but you're always going to get that $5,000 after taxes. And like this vehicle has a heat pump inside. This vehicle has 305 kilometers of range, which is very conservative, as I found out myself driving it all the time.
Mhm.
Has a 64 kilowatt hour battery, so a little bit smaller than the Bolt, but not by much. It's a compact SUV, meaning that it's more like a small station wagon.
Right.
It looks like an A3.
Okay. Okay.
Audi E3, right? 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds. If you care about that, up to 77 kilowatt hour in DC fast charging.
Mhm.
So from empty, it's under 54 minutes. I usually charge when I hit 14% when I get to the next town or the next charger. Usually
Right.
I'm only there for maybe 40 minutes or so.
There's
to get to
there's a
80%.
question. So you said
Yeah.
from empty to 54 minutes to full charge. Are you
Yep.
able to set your charge percentage on your battery? So for example, I only want up to charge at 80%. Could you set
You
that?
absolutely can.
All right. So
Yeah, it's
like
in
you
one of the
said,
screens.
by setting that, you could save the longevity of your battery. Like
You can. Yeah. Actually, what I do is I usually have it set to only 90% max in both AC charging or DC or level 2 charging and also for DC fast charging. So
right.
at most I can only charge up to 90%. On road trips, I'll let the AC charging go all the way up to 100%
Mhm,
because then that way if I need to pick up a charge, it charges immediately.
Right.
It gets me up to 100% because it's a very slow trickle charge. It's not as aggressive on the battery as DC fast charging is.
Right.
But having said that, though, this vehicle has an advanced thermal management system for the battery.
Mhm.
And at 36,000 kilometers, my state of health of my battery was still 100%. And
All
I
right.
fast charged
Wow.
a lot during the
Wow.
summer, probably at least 40 DC fast charging stations, DC fast charging station visits in probably one of the hottest summers on record.
Yeah, it was really hot.
Longest summers on record.
Yeah, it was hot.
So there you go. No problem here at 100%. That
And-
8-year warranty is going to be it's going to be good.
So 8-year warranty. So when did you buy this car? That was like
I bought it
last
I
year?
bought it August end of July
End of July of this
2021.
Oh, so last year. So you've
Yeah.
driven more than a year and a half now, just say.
Mhm.
And you're still having 100% battery juice on there,
Yep.
life,
Yep.
and like you say, you put everything on the spreadsheet. You probably already paid for the running costs of the car already, right?
No, I'm ahead.
You're ahead. You're ahead.
I'm ahead.
You're already saving money.
I'm already saving money.
Amazing.
It's not even funny. It's ridiculous. Like, I mean, in British Columbia, in most of Canada, not only are my charging costs fairly
Mhm.
reasonable because we are on renewable sources of energy, hydro,
Hydro.
you know, like wind, solar, and also some other biomass, other things that are a lot less polluting to the environment. There's nuclear in the eastern Canada as well too. So I mean, we have a good mix here. Alberta is gas. There's natural gas as well too, which to be perfectly honest, they have a lot of it, and they have found ways to actually make it clean, which is good. But they are also transitioning to other ways of producing electricity to increase the capacity of their production as well too, and also their storage as well too. So I mean, this is a slow transition.
It is,
Slow
yeah.
transition.
I can see next year there's going to be a lot more EVs on the road. I've been driving gas cars for all my life actually, and I never
Same.
really liked the whole queuing up to fill up your gas tank and watching those, just driving past a garage and a petrol station and gas stations, looking at the price, thinking, oh, today's like 180 something, and then the next week, it might drop down to 160, and I think this week is like 150 something, and then something happens in the news and it'll go shoot back up to 200. I'm thinking, oh my god, what's going on here? So the
utility prices are definitely a lot more stable in Canada for sure. They're usually at a pretty good rate. They're regulated in BC. So, and we're also almost 100% water here. So
that's
that
true.
means
That's
that
true.
I feel good about charging my car. Even in places where the grid is mostly coal, the efficiency is still in the pollution is still much better than it is with a gas vehicle, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things, the human side, is that if you don't smell exhaust for a very long time, if you drive in a vehicle that it has no emissions, when you go to a place where there are emissions, and when I'm walking around downtown Vancouver, I actually now very much notice it.
You cough.
I cough. I actually notice the smog. I notice the exhaust much more than I ever used to, because I'm no longer exposed to it. So you have to think about the medical consequences of all the exhaust and the particulates and everything like that. You're smelling it.
That's right.
You're coughing to it. Therefore, the body doesn't like it.
That's right. I think over there was a study over 10 years ago. People living in a block of it was an area, I can't remember which city. I think some city in states. I think it's Baltimore, some other town.
Yeah.
There was a controlled area where there's like no emissions, right? You can't drive in that area. Literally can't drive.
Yeah.
And they did a study between that area and the area where I think it's near the docks, because in Baltimore they have the big docks, right? Shipyard and stuff like that. And they did studies of children, and there was a 90% chance of children in that dock area where there's a lot of pollution from smoke, the exhausts and all that kind of stuff, of asthma. 90% chance of getting asthma. And then the other area where there's no vehicles, nothing, no emissions, there was literally a very low chance of you or children getting asthma. And asthma, of course, is related to the health of the air, right? Pollution, air pollution. So
it's damage to the lungs.
It's definitely,
yeah. And those are not the one study that you're talking about. There's actually one that was done by, I think, the Atlanta School Board in one area. They actually put in low emissions non-diesel vehicles for transporting kids back and forth. And even that one single change, what they noticed is that the scores of this particular school, the academic scores, were much, much higher. Because kids were not actually affected by that.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
It was one little step to make the lives and also the health and also the performance academically smarter kids from this school. It was a control. It's the information is out there, but whether or not anyone wants to act on it, I mean, the U.S. school system has so many issues right now that just to change, just to make a change like that costs.
It costs money. Plus, what controls. It's all to do with lobbying and all those big oil companies.
Of course.
At the end of the day, they employ thousands of people, right? And if you're saying, "Oh, we got to cut this, cut that," then what's going to happen to those employees, right? And so it's a chain reaction event which affects everybody, and they got to balance it out. So what's the best? Is it for the environment or the future, or is it because of the employment and economy, right? And they got like a fine balance. And I understand it's a bit complex, geopolitical and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, companies need to make money. They are beholden to their shareholders. The shareholders may be a bunch of assholes, but at the same time, though, they're the shareholder, right? So unless you are a private company that's willing to go out there and do this all on your own and clean up the environment, there's really not a whole lot of motivation by the people that want to make money on your shares, right? And speaking ill of the company that is or the industry that makes you the most amount of money, doesn't make a lot of sense for someone that wants to earn that money. I mean, there are a lot of people that hold stocks out there that are making hand over fists like the gas companies are, right? But if you want to take them to task, and some of them are actually kind of embarrassed by that. They're like, oh, I feel bad that I'm making money off of this. But then there's some people that are proud that they're making a ton of money off it, and then they spout the talking points about like how changing every vehicle in the world will not help.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. Right? It's going to happen. People, I think California is another state already.
California is a controversial place, mainly because they've done a lot of things. They're very good, but the way that the government has worked down there, seemingly, is that you can't have any new stuff that is not renewable, and they are not rolling it out fast enough. So there's too much red tape to make that happen. Plus, I think parts of the state, they can't plug into other grids, so they are always out of electricity.
Yeah.
And it's even worse in Texas, where they're an island.
I mean, separately from everybody else?
Separately from everyone else. They're off the national grid. I think that might have changed in recent years because of all of the death and destruction that happened from those decisions.
Well, that's it, because they know they're making money, right, within their own state. So if they want to plug into the national grid, that means they have to pay money to another company.
Roaming charges. Basically, it's like roaming charges.
Yeah, it's like roaming
carriers.
charges. Yeah, you don't want to pay extra that just because you want to. Yeah. All right.
So there's so much political stuff. I just don't want to deal with that. But like focusing on every daily driver, every person that commutes, every person that comes from Chilliwack back and forth, everyone that doesn't need a pickup truck for hauling a huge ass boat once a year. An EV is a good choice.
EV. Hey, Stephen, you know me. I'm a luxury guy. I mean, I love my luxury items, right? I love my watches and clothes and designer stuff, right? So there must be an EV for luxury drivers, right?
There absolutely is.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Full disclosure, I am a shareholder of this company. I
do
own a sizable number of stocks in here. The stock performance has not been fantastic, but I know that they are going to make pay dirt once they start delivering way more of these vehicles.
Right.
But that company that we're talking about is Lucid.
Okay.
Now, Lucid was was actually founded by a gentleman called Peter Rawlinson, who actually worked on the Model S under Elon Musk as
so he was
coming on board.
Ex-employee of Tesla.
He's ex-Tesla, right?
Okay.
So the way that the Model S, that vehicle was actually his vision, right? But he had bigger aspirations, bigger than even Elon Musk. So he started this company who was originally not called Lucid. It's called something else. And with a reverse SPAC, so basically they created a holding company to reverse push this company into the public market.
Right.
And it became LCID on the stock exchange, Lucid, basically overnight. And now they are creating vehicles that are the epitome of luxury EVs.
Okay.
So the Lucid Air was their first model. Actually, the Lucid Dream was the model that everyone pre-ordered in the US. This was like, it's like these vehicles are basically like the super yachts of EVs.
Right.
I had one drive behind me in Vancouver. One
was out already?
Yeah, it's out already. That's why it's on this list.
Okay.
These are delivered vehicles, and I had one that was driving behind me in Vancouver, had BC plates on it. It's a BC vehicle. They're delivering in BC across Canada right now. And the vehicle, and there's a showroom in Vancouver. You can check it out. It's at Pacific Center Mall.
Right.
And that vehicle was driving behind me, and I'm like, wow.
What is that thing?
This thing's huge. It looks like a freaking spaceship. And my God, it looks like if you look at some of the luxury mega yachts, it looks like a luxury mega yacht.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing starts at this is the base model. I think this is called the Pure, which is the lowest end model. It starts at $121,500. This is basically a house in Texas.
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
Right. It has 857 kilometers of range.
Oh, so literally more than double than your
more than double.
EV. Okay.
Right. And this is likely very conservative. 100 kilowatt plus hour battery, depending on the model. Yeah, like I'm saying, like it's a big vehicle, but it still moves. It does 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds, even in its base trim.
That's literally like a sports car, like a race.
It is a sports car.
Racing, right? Okay.
It is a sports car, and that's in the non all-wheel drive model as well too. It also does because of its 900 volt architecture, which and again, this is all electrical engineering stuff, but if you increase the voltage, you also decrease the amount of heat that is generated. Right. So in order to charge a battery very fast, you need a lot of voltage. And then with a 350 kilowatt charger, which is its maximum speed currently, you can actually get up to 350 kilometers of range in under 15 minutes.
Okay, that's fast. I mean,
that's amazing, right?
15 minutes, is that full charge, right?
Yeah. Most vehicles on the road that are normal vehicles are 400 volt architecture. That means that you have to slow down the curve of charging and let the battery rest and then charge it some more, right? So my vehicle, my Niro EV, is only 400 volt. So at best, it might get 100 kilowatt hour, but it would need 800 or 900 in order to get those maximum speeds. And it doesn't exist.
And if you have like that kind of architecture on your Bolt, it will probably be overheat, right? It will probably overheat while charging.
It will overheat because there's just not enough space for a competent battery management system to go into actually
Right.
cool it enough, right?
So-
it's just not there, right?
So for the Lucid, it's literally a whole new battery kind of
it's a
architecture,
whole new architecture.
and it's designed for that car because of the performance, because of everything that you need. Okay.
Peter Robinson is an engineer, and his team did a fantastic job in designing something that will hopefully maybe license to other vehicle manufacturers to be able to get the charging speeds up. So this is pretty cool. If you have a home that has multiple breaker boxes, like a mansion, you can actually charge it up to 19.2 kilowatts on a level 2 charger. That is nearly half the speed of most DC fast chargers on the road today.
So, well, that's quite fast then, because if you're able to do that,
yeah, like if you
that's like what max 1 hour, 2 hours, get a full
in your
charge.
House, you have a coffee, you come back out, it's probably done.
Wow.
Depending on your commute, right?
Okay.
I mean, if you can do 350 kilometers of range under a 900 volt architecture, which is 350 kilowatt hour, if you divide that by, like this is 9, yeah, you would probably be fine for your commute for the next day within 30 minutes.
Okay. So another thing I want to ask is, like you said, 15 minutes for this car anyway, Lucid, 15 minutes for a full charge on the 900 volt architecture, right?
350 kilometers. Let's just be, probably 30 minutes to get to 700.
Right. So explain to users, the longer you charge, does it cost more?
The longer you charge, well, it's per minute.
It's per minute. So this is, guys, if you want to get an electric vehicle, it's based on the current cost of your existing, kilowatt per hour, right? Is that how you work it on your electric bill?
In Canada right now, we charge by the minute, mainly because there are a lot of, it's a transitional phase. Most vehicles in Canada, especially all the Leafs, charge very slowly. So they're hogging up what little infrastructure that we have. Not a lot of vehicles can go of that ilk can go past 50 kilowatt hour anyways. But so that means that in order for them to take a road trip, they're going to be stuck at that charging station for at least 45 minutes.
Right.
So that means, and if they have a smaller battery, you're going to see them more and more often. So this is something that kind of helps the market wean itself off of the slower vehicles. So get them recycled, get them off the road, get new ones in there. And then as the charging rates of all vehicles go up, you're going to find that what they're hoping to do is at some point they will go to a kilowatt charging rate charging system. So basically like gas charging per liter, they'll charge per kilowatt. So right now the rate is anywhere between 21 cents to 50 cents per kilowatt hour for most chargers under 150 kilowatt hour. Above that, you have premium pricing. So you're basically being charged anywhere between 47 to 57 cents. Those vehicles charge much, much faster.
Right. Okay.
So your charging rates are going to be nominal depending on that. But for me, to charge from 10 to 15% up to 80% at a DC fast charger at the maximum 77 kilowatt hours that my vehicle can take, and keep in mind that's only up to 40%, and then it drops down and then drops down again. I pay around $10.
Right.
$10 to $12. Taxes.
That's okay. That's not bad.
Yeah.
It's better than
That's not bad at all.
Filling your gas tank $40-$50 just to
40, 50. What are you driving? 50-liter tank is like almost $100.
$100. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
So I mean, that's pretty good, right? And you know, like it's going to take time for the weights and measures part of Canada to say, yep, you know what, this is a good idea now. We have turnover at the chargers that are much more nominal now. Everyone's only milling about for 30 minutes. Let's go to kilowatt hour charging. And I think might be a better move than changing it all now, because we don't have enough chargers yet. We'll get to that at the end because there's some developments coming up. Okay. But speaking of, let's finish off with the Lucid Air. Lucid Air is shipping in Canada, of course. And it's a yacht, and it has all-wheel drive available. It does have the heat pump. It has everything.
This luxury car, top speed. What's the top speed on this?
320 plus kilometers an hour.
Wow. That's
almost double mine.
Yeah, that's like Porsche performance, isn't it? Like,
well, it's beaten the Lamborghini in tests. Like, it'll destroy any supercar at under 2 seconds.
Right.
It's phenomenal.
Okay. And wait list?
Waitlist, right now as it stands, you jump on the list and the first one that's comes off the line is yours. But they're also extending the range of the vehicles as well too. So the Pier, the Dream, now they've got a couple other models, the Sapphires, like basically the Plaid. The more vehicles that they have, the more lines that they have, you may want to not wait for the Pier. You may want to just jump up a line and just spend the extra money. So as the Lucid portfolio extends itself, including the new SUV that's coming out called the Gravity, you may decide that the Pier is not big enough. You might want to go to the Gravity, which is their SUV. So the wait times for your Lucid Air Pier, probably a lot longer than you think. However, you might actually be in the Lucid before you even realize it.
Oh, true.
Right? And
if you got the money, this is it. This is the car to go for.
And we'll get into why that is the case at the end as well too, because we have some forward-looking things that we want to get a hold of. But speaking of road trips and driving a lot and going places, and we alluded to that, is that driving is a luxury. It's not a luxury, it's more of a pastime for a lot of people.
Yeah,
we want to have
enjoyment.
More road trips.
Right.
It's enjoyment, right? So in the lower mainland of British Columbia, where we both live right now, the Tesla Model 3 on some days, depending on where you are, outnumber Honda Civics.
I see them everywhere. They're like literally everywhere.
Yeah, it's the most popular EV for all good reasons. For starters, it's got access to Tesla's supercharger network all across Canada and the US. It also has access to DC fast chargers with an adapter. They've just launched the CCS charger, which is available now, where you can plug it in to any of the Electrify America, Canada, BC Hydro, all those stations. They had a Chatham charger before, which limited charging to 50 kilowatts. Now you can get 100 or above with the new CCS charger. So that's good. So they give Tesla drivers more options to charge versus someone like me who doesn't have access to the supercharger network. And believe me, if you see a supercharger charging station anywhere, there's going to be at least 10 stalls. 10 stalls.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a benefit. The Tesla Model 3 is the most popular. It starts at $59,000 for a rear-wheel drive.
Not bad.
It's not applicable to the rebate anymore though, because hold on. Yes, it is. Under the new scheme, if your family buys a Tesla for $59,000, you will get a rebate, but you have to have an income level under a certain range.
Oh, right. Okay.
So this is for the provincial rebate. The federal one still stands.
And the range, what type of range can you get out of this?
You're looking at 438 kilometers of range.
That's good.
Which is not bad. I mean, it's not double like the Lucid Air, but then you're not paying double the price.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit better than the two other vehicles that we already talked about. 417 for the Bolt's pretty good. The Civic of EVs gets a 0 to 60 in 6.1 seconds, so it will still beat any Civic off the line by a lot. It will also be quieter. You get up to 250 kilowatt hours of charging on DC fast charging. Their curve's a little bit different in Teslas, so you may be able to get a lot more range out of it within a shorter time span. That's what they want at the superchargers. They also charge more money at the superchargers than usual. I think it's anywhere from 35 cents per minute, but then you're out of there in a lot shorter time. So let's keep that into perspective as well too. 11 kilowatt charging does not change for this vehicle. It's still one of the highest, but it's not quite as high as the 19.2 kilowatt that is in the Lucid. Again, a luxury vehicle. So if you have 11 kilowatt hour of charging and that battery is 60 kilowatts, then you can have a full battery in less than 6 hours. As you sleep overnight.
Leave it overnight in the garage or a parking lot.
Yeah, like it's not a big deal to charge it every few days. You'll probably catch up.
What's the downside? Everybody's got them.
The downside is Elon Musk. So depending on your politics, depending on how you feel about him, and I've heard these really funky, weird stories where any Tesla driver is getting trolled on the road by pickup trucks and everything. Like people that drive Teslas are a target right now.
Oh, because of the Elon Musk thing attached to it.
I feel bad. I feel very, very bad for them because they're just driving their car. But,
you mentioned the word Tesla or you see that symbol. It's Elon Musk, right? It just gets associated with Elon Musk and that's it. There's nothing you can do about that.
There are a lot of good people that work at Tesla. There are a lot of good people that work at SpaceX and all the other places. SpaceX now has a non-Elon Musk leading it, right? The CEO right now is fantastic.
That's
She's putting the boots to everyone, but she's doing it in a way that is not Elon.
He could do that. He could do that. So he could step down as CEO from Tesla and let someone else run it. He still owes the whole thing, right? Well, a large majority share of whatever, but he could leave that running by someone else.
Elon is Tesla might actually be more successful without him.
True. That's true.
Just like SpaceX, it seems to be more successful without him handling the rudder every single day, right? And now he's focused his energy on Twitter.
Yeah.
So who's running Tesla right now?
I know, exactly.
I don't know, right? So his attention is divided. So that's the only major downside. The technology is fantastic. I know quite a few people who do drive the Tesla. They enjoy it. Over the air updates. The vehicle tells you when it's ready to go to service. It's not a set kilometer like your regular dealers. So if the car tells you that it needs service, you should go. If it doesn't, then don't go. Versus vehicle manufacturers, they're doing it mainly to keep their service centers in business. But at the same time, though, most vehicles don't really need those checkups at all. Like even when you look at your brakes, your coolant, everything like that. If you properly assess and do a test, you don't actually need that changed.
That's true.
Not for a long time. So Tesla has taken it. I think they've taken some of the SpaceX expertise to telemetry.
I mean, the next big launch or delivery, I should say, because they launched it a while back, like 3 years ago. The next delivery would be the Cybertruck. We'll see what happens then.
It's coming soon.
It's coming soon.
Hopefully, because they've just launched the Semi.
Oh yeah, this huge thing, right?
Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later on because it's completely off track. You're not buying one of those unless you are a company. So the Semi's launched finally, which means that project was like 5 years behind. Tesla Cybertruck is 3 years behind. So who knows? Maybe in the next year or two, we might see the year of the truck. But
true.
We'll get there eventually. But for now, Model 3, great road tripping vehicle, works all over North America, the widest range of charging available. The only downside of it is getting one right now, which is actually shortened the time span because right now, as it stands, Model 3s come from one of many factories inside North America. So if you want an EV today, they're also a good choice for that if you want to spend premium money. You do get all of the features that you want. You can build your own Tesla and everything like that. There might actually even be Teslas on a lot somewhere within Canada that they can just do a vehicle locate and get that for you as well too. So talk to a dealer if you want something like that today.
True.
Good resale value, by the way.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So we're also talking about moving up the line here, and like the landscape has changed. Like the Model 3 came out in like 2017, 2018.
That's quite a while back. Like 6-7 years ago.
It's at least 3 to 4 years old. The vehicle itself from its inception to today, right? And they're due to do a model refresh in the next year or so as well too. So it's getting long in the tooth. But today, the most advanced vehicles out there are from Korea. And
Korea, definitely.
That's right. So the best premium EV, and this is from the same company that I have my vehicle from, which was our premium, our more of an upgrade pick, which is the Niro EV. Their latest vehicle, which is called the Kia EV6, is actually I think it's one car of the year.
Oh, really?
A couple of magazines.
Okay.
Along with its brother, the Ioniq 5, which is what
my brother's
drives.
driving. Yeah.
They're very similar platforms. They are built on Hyundai's global eGMP platform, which is a platform built specifically for a battery electric drivetrain. This battery electric drivetrain will extend out and be compatible with a lot of different vehicles such as SUVs as well as light truck. So right now, as it stands, the EV9, which is their EV SUV full size, is coming online, and it's going to be battle ready within the next year or so. But for now, the EV6 gets this new platform. It's now in its second year because 2022 is when it came out. 2023 models are now starting to be pre-ordered, but all throughout 2022, people have been getting their EV6s. The pricing is attractive. It starts at $44,000 for the lowest end model, which unfortunately I don't think anyone buys because it's so much more fun when you get one of the upper end models, right? Because the lower end model only has a 167 horsepower motor, which is less than the Niro EV.
Right.
It does charge faster though.
Okay.
So there are benefits, but it's not the in your seat acceleration, right? Because it's 7.1 seconds 0 to 60 on the lowest end model, which is it's not an EV experience, right? If you know what I'm saying. But it will charge at a 350 kilowatt hour DC fast charging station from 10 to 80% in 18 minutes, though.
18 minutes. That's
18 minutes.
That's good.
Yep. Nominal conditions, right? Up to 11 kilowatt, which is what most people have in their homes. Like not everyone lives in the mansion with dual 200 or 300 watt service, 300 volt amp service. So you've got you have max 40 amps, so you're going to get maybe 11 kilowatt, right? All-wheel drive and high-performance options are available. So this vehicle, this platform morphs into a number of different vehicles that you can pick depending on your budget and also on your needs as well too. The relative design of the vehicle, the interior is like a very large, what you would call an estate.
Okay.
It's big. It's very big, but it's not as big as the Lucid Air. It's longer, right?
It's longer, yeah. So it's almost like having the VW, right? Volkswagen Golf, right? You got the standard Golf, which is affordable, cheap, and you with the lowest engine kind of configuration, that'll run, but the performance is just average, right? Then you got the GTI version and the big one, right? The I think it's R32, which is like super twin turbo. It's similar, right? So you got the drivetrain now for this EV from Kia, and you have basic trim for your average user, or you want the performance model with everything bolted on, right?
Yeah.
So tell me more about that.
And for anyone that watches anime, it's like getting the Hachi Go when you wanted the Hachiroku.
Sure.
All right. So, you can put the badging on, but it's not going to be the same car in any way. All-wheel drive and all-wheel drive and high performance trims are available. All-wheel drive is fantastic. I would recommend getting that one, or at least very least get the performance rear wheel drive with the long range battery.
Right.
I think that in Canada, if you have a rear wheel drive car, and depending on where you drive, it might be challenging. But for most road conditions, you're not losing out very much on that. You're actually going to get a longer range vehicle because there's not another motor and weight in the front of the vehicle. But all wheel drive, if you can get it for a good price, and depending on trim, it might be a good price. This is truly a something for everyone platform. I think they brought out the EV6 to show that. That's why there's an EV9 coming. That's where there are other vehicles as well too. And it's a close cousin to the Ioniq 5. So the Ioniq 5 has a really unique, distinct look to it.
Oh yeah.
So depending on whether you love it or hate it, if you love what it gives you, but you don't love the look, you can look at the EV6.
Right. EV6 is more of a car shape, right? Ioniq 5 is a more of a, SUV style?
Yeah, like no, it's more boxy, it's more retro.
Yeah, more
boxy and retro.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell what it is on the road, but if you don't want to draw attention to yourself like that, the EV6 looks more like a conventional vehicle. I think it looks like one of the I-Pace models. So in the regular conventional trim. Not an EV. So it actually looks like a non-EV vehicle most of the time, unless you double check and you really look at it, right? That's why I kind of like my Niro EV, is that it has a gas and a hybrid version of it. So no one knows what I'm driving until I take off from the light.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Right. So that's kind of fun. So, like this platform has a lot of different choices from the Ioniq 5, depending on what trim model you have. But if you want the most amount of performance out of this platform, you've got to get the EV6, because they're going to be coming out with a GT version of it. It's going to be a monster. It's the one that they used to beat the Lamborghini and a couple other supercars when they're doing that off the line acceleration and everything like that. It destroyed them.
Hold on. So a standard GT version, right? That's the kind of highest trim they have, right? For the EV6?
They have a new one coming out. It's going to be like I can't remember what it's called. There's GT line, and then there's GT, and then GT is going to have all-wheel drive. Yeah, it's going to have sub 3 second 0 to 60 times.
Oh wow. Okay, so you don't need to add anything on. You just get that model.
Just buy that one,
and they will off the line. It'll beat the Lamborghini.
Buy that one. Yeah, it's going to have less efficiency, obviously, because it's going to have like Michelin Pilot Sport tires. On it. Yeah. It's going to have bigger wheels. It's going to have bigger brakes. It's going to be just.
So it's going to use up more battery juice. That's what
It's going to
saying.
use up more battery.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It's going to use up more battery mainly because you're going to want to use up more battery, not because it's inefficient.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
you,
if
it's
you
the
buy,
driver.
if you buy a sports car and you want a twin turbo engine in there, it's gonna use up a lot more gas.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you want it to spool up and make those funny noises.
Right. Okay.
So, moving on, like those, like I've picked 3,
Mhm.
4. No, I picked 5.
Five.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vehicles that you should definitely keep an eye on. And they are all shipping throughout the year. They're on the road right now. If you go to any charger and you ask questions, most EV drivers are actually very friendly. They love talking to other people about their vehicles. So you can learn so much real world information from people that actually drive them on the daily. What you read on message boards or on YouTube comments and stuff like that, really, those people are just angry that they don't have one for themselves because they keep talking about them.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
And I want you to have one too. At some point, there's going to be a good used market. There's going to be a good tuning scene. There's going to be lots of supply, lots of choices. And I want you in as well too, no matter what you are. Right now, as it stands, most of the vehicles, they don't reflect your usage, your tastes, and your preferences. And the technology may not be there for some people that want to live in the woods forever. So I recognize that. I see you. I see you. Okay. So what are other EVs to talk about? Well, let me just talk about some that are just kind of already shipping that didn't make it on the list for some reason. I'll give you some reasons, and also some that are shipping right now, but in very limited quantities. So the first one, the hottest vehicle right now that everyone talking about trucks wants to get a hold of, and I didn't even mention the Ford F150 because basically the Ford F150 is a vehicle that side of a Ford F150 gas truck. It hasn't changed. It's the same freaking thing with a battery underneath it. And you'll see that from all the tests out there, you'll see why, because the range isn't great. It doesn't tow well. There's deficiencies in retrofitting a electric drivetrain into something that was meant to be gas. But
it's true.
The Rivian R1T is a truck that was built specifically to be an electric truck. And I fell in love with this vehicle actually when I saw it supporting Ewan McGregor and his partner. I can't remember his name. I always forget his name. But they were riding electric motorcycles from Argentina all the way up North America to LA.
Oh, so South America or
North America to LA.
Like one massive road trip.
One massive road trip on motorcycles that get no more than 100 kilometers of range.
Okay, massive.
So they did that, and this is like a few years ago. So when I saw the Rivian, and they already had the design up and everything, like you could see the vehicle, you could see exactly what it was going to look like. They beat the snot out of those vehicles. They were going through the Himalayas.
I think I saw an advert with that car with solar panels. Is that the same car? Or is that a different car?
Not. Well, maybe it has a solar array outside of it somewhere, but it's not a solar powered vehicle. So the R1T is it looks like a pickup truck with the happy eyes.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, it's a different vehicle I'm talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it took abuse. It ran over some of the most challenging terrain all over the world. It was backed up by a Sprinter van that was off-road modified. It had generators on it because they didn't want to get stuck anywhere. But this was a good proving ground for a vehicle that looked like it had duct tape all over the inside because it was literally a alpha. They were basically testing something, and they needed the technician back there. Like they had a couple of Rivian technicians back there to troubleshoot things and everything. It was truly an adventure. And watching them take a vehicle that is nowhere near ready for production and getting it from one end of South America to LA was actually quite interesting to see. So the vehicle design itself is actually very well thought out because they tested it in the real world. Now it's ready to ship in Canada. So they are shipping them right now. I've seen a couple in town with BC plates already, which is very exciting. Right. Starting price of these vehicles will be about $90,000. So it's not cheap, but it is in the F-150 category, but it is considered to be a more premium because I know that the F-150s come in different versions, like versions that are for fleet. Rivian is not. Rivian
Right.
is for you to buy as your pickup truck.
Yeah.
Range is better with towing. It's more efficient. It's definitely
It's built as a truck.
it's built as an electric.
It's an electrified truck. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was no thinking about how we can shoehorn a electric drivetrain into a gas powered vehicle. It came off the line as an electric vehicle. And also Rivian, if you don't know, it's the same company that supplies all of Amazon's trucks in Seattle right now. So all of the electric vehicles in Amazon's fleet, and they are an investor of Rivian, are using their drivetrain.
Yeah. That's good.
So
That's good.
let's talk about the VW, which is something that you want to get
Yeah.
a hold of.
Well, actually, my wife, she's planning to get. She's driving right now a Tiguan. Is that called Tiguan?
Tiguan, yep.
So it's very similar shape. The whole feel about Tiguan, it's in this one. So tell us more.
Yeah. Well, it's been shipping throughout the year. So a lot of the pre-orders have started coming in just around spring of this year, 2022. It drives like a normal car. So if you want to feel like you're in an EV, this isn't it. It's going to accelerate. The curve of acceleration, everything is very car-like. So very combustion engine-like. So if you are not used to driving an EV a certain way, this is probably more for you. The UI does lack polish. Like coming off of the line, the first version of that software, it didn't really work for anyone, to be perfectly honest, but they have gotten better. There have been over-the-air updates. It's definitely good for those that, like don't want to draw attention to themselves. It doesn't look like it looks a lot like a Toyota RAV4. It really does. It's all-wheel drive available. It's probably one of the least expensive all-wheel drive vehicles that are EVs on the market. Starts about $43K, but of course, as Winston found out, the one that your wife wants is the Pro, and it's probably more like 55.
55, yeah.
Yeah, it does. To be perfectly honest, it's probably the way to go because you're going to get the heat pump, you're going to get like the heated seats, windows.
Yeah, I think she did drive either I think it's a Mini or one of the other electric cars, and she didn't like that EV. You put your foot on the accelerator, and it kind of like it just didn't get. She couldn't get used to it, and then she jumped on the ID4 for another test drive another week. Yeah, and she liked exactly how it drove like a normal car. So
it drives like a normal car.
Yeah,
the acceleration is stunted. It takes off like a normal car. It's like you're waiting for things to wind up, but it's actually in the software that lets it kind of give it a curve. Like when I step on the gas and I'm not or step on the gas, when I deploy the propulsion pedal, sometimes it will peel out rubber, and that's a lot of fun. But when you're trying to get off the start, a clean start from a stoplight, you kind of have to feather the throttle.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I think your wife is talking about, and she's very right in what she's asking for. It's just something that's a lot easier to drive, which is fair. So this vehicle is definitely for that crowd. It's affordable, relatively speaking. You get a lot of bang for the buck, but it's just not when you are used to driving an EV.
You want the fun of driving an EV.
You lose that fun. You definitely lose that fun. But can it be for everyone? It can be for more people than some of the other EVs out there. I like it. I didn't put it on the list because I don't have enough experience with it. But as in terms of I think it's fine. Obviously.
So, both Ford. What's Ford doing?
Well, Ford is I've driven the Mach-E.
Oh, okay. Okay, tell us more.
I've driven the Mach-E. I drove the Mach-E, and then I went back to the Kia dealership and I bought the Kia.
Right, okay. What was the decision that you decided not to get the Mach-E?
Well, let's just put it this way. The Mach-E for Canadian winters does not have a heat pump.
Okay, right. So no heat pump.
First of all, the second thing is that I don't think it's a Mustang.
So it's marketed as a Mustang, but it's not.
It's a Mach-E. It's not a Mustang.
Okay, so it's not a Mustang. What about the shape and the actual whole thing about it?
I didn't really care about what it looked like. I just wanted to drive right. Okay. And when I was driving it, it just felt really big and
clunky,
kind of wallowed all over it didn't drive small. I've driven vehicles that drive small. Like the Ford Explorer, actually as a big vehicle, drives small. The Kia Sorento, which is a SUV, drives small. Okay. That means that it has it drives spirited for the size of its chassis. I didn't feel that from the Mach-E. I put it into the pony unbridled mode, which the sport mode and everything like that, tightens up everything. I still didn't feel it, and and the other thing too is that the cost of those wheels and tires, like they put 19-inch tires on it.
19-inch tires. So it's
Yeah.
almost like wearing a big massive hoodie.
It's like it's to have tires that big, like you're going to have a set of winter tires, and I have them on my vehicle as well too. And you know what? They make a big difference in the winter, especially as everyone figured out that your all seasons are crap. They don't go anywhere after you get on the bridge. And I wear those all year, and I just didn't like the driving dynamics of the vehicle. I didn't like the sight lines. I think there was too much covered back there. The bonnet was way too long.
Okay.
It wasn't
so
it wasn't a friendly drive in terms of I found that the seating position was way too low. I tried raising it a lot more, but then it just threw me off. So it's not that the vehicle is bad. It
just wasn't for you.
It just wasn't for me, because I think this is kind of the reason why people hate EVs right now, is because there's nothing for me.
Yeah. So it's like you really need to do a test drive and feel for the type of driving experience that you need for whatever car. For example, my wife jumped on a Mini, electric Mini, and she didn't like it. She jumped on the ID4, she liked it. And they're both electric vehicles. So you need to actually give it a test drive and see how you feel.
You do. I felt that the Mach-E might have been better for someone that was bigger than me, maybe taller.
Right.
So that they could see everything. I felt that the controls, I hated the way that the display, the setup was all touchscreen. I didn't like the way it was laid out. I've had such a hard time finding everything, that I think that it's a software thing that I think that Ford can kind of get over and fix, but it didn't have enough tactile buttons for me. And this is like kind of the Tesla issue as well too. Tesla has a lot of buttons and everything, and no buttons. It's very simple on the inside, but I like my buttons. I kind of like to twist things and turn things. Yeah. And I could do it by feel. Whereas with a touchscreen, even if they put haptics in, I wouldn't be able to figure that out. So I felt that it wasn't a complete UI experience in their touchscreen display, but it wasn't, but the buttons were not supportive of enough of that lesser experience that I was willing to trust driving this all the time. I use my buttons a lot, even when I'm blind. I'll tell you one thing is that when I was out in the mountains driving to Kananaskis for a recent road trip, we were up in the mountains, and for some reason the anti-fog system just kind of like it just fogged up all of a sudden. I could drive my car by feel.
All right. So did it automatically switch on, or just
no? I think for some reason it was it just fogged up all of a sudden, like very quickly. So I had to turn on the defrost, but because I know there's a nubbin in the control panel, I just hit it while I kept my hands on the road. I also have lane departure and everything all set up, and it was following the vehicle in front with radar, but still I could just touch it and I was fine.
I tell you what,
even though I couldn't see.
In the future, they'll probably voice commands for this kind of stuff, or it'll auto suggest the vehicle experiencing whatever
high humidity.
Yeah, high humidity. Would you like to switch it on? This and that, and you'll say yes. So it's all voice control possibly in the future.
So I'm hoping that, like, I just didn't like the driving experience. I knew that it would probably be very comfortable to drive on a long road, but because we're inside the city, because we're driving everywhere, because I have to park the thing, it's actually quite long.
Yeah.
I think that it wasn't the right fit for me. When you drive a vehicle, you know right away whether or not it's for you or not.
It's like wearing a shoe, right?
Yeah.
Is it going to be a right fit or not, and what it looks like and so on.
Fair.
Okay. Other brands. Where else? You got this one Polestar. From Europe. European.
No,
brand?
Actually, Polestar is Volvo.
Okay.
Volvo's EV brand is Polestar. Polestar 1 was the first EV that came out. Polestar 2 is now shipping. It's been shipping for a little while now. They've been doing test drives all over the lower mainland because no one knows what Polestar is. They know Volvo, but they don't know what Polestar is.
So Polestar is the electric vehicle brand that the Volvo's behind. Okay.
That's right. Now, their vehicles, they start at 54K. So they're on more of a premium side, but you have such customization. It's basically like, how should I say? It is like it's like Subaru and Subaru. No, it's not. That's not even it. it's like you've taken two different directions with Volvo. Volvo is like the safety family vehicle.
Right.
The Polestar is kind of the more high tech kind of, features, and you can customize certain things. You can have LED lights and everything. And the vehicles have a certain high tech panache to it, but they're still the same drivetrain as the C40 or something like that, but up elevated for someone that wants more options and everything like that. The Tesla driver, if you will, right? That wants all that high tech. So this vehicle, it's
competing against Tesla directly. Is that what you're saying?
I think it's more of a Model 3 replacement, mainly because it does have similar range, all-wheel drive options. A lot of the specs are very much the same. It is a Volvo, which actually was purchased by I
think a Chinese company. Yeah.
So it's Chinese, right? So there's that stigma behind it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But they seem like fine vehicles. It's just that the service centers and the service centers aren't available. But given that, even EVs, they don't require a lot of service.
Yeah, they don't. They don't.
Few far between, right? And even if you do need service, it's basically a checklist.
Yeah,
you're good, sir.
Go
like
ahead.
most of my EV services are 45 minutes and I'm out of there, right? So I'm like, why did I even show up? So there you go. But it's a fun brand. They've been doing a lot of test drives to kind of educate people on what this brand is, how it feels. And as they get people into the vehicle, I think that they have a really good chance of finding the right glove that fits the hand. Like, again, people hate things that they can't have or it doesn't fit them. I get that. But there's no reason for you to slag on a brand or the category because you can't fit into it. It's like saying, "Oh, I'm too fat to fit into a wetsuit. Surfing sucks."
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean,
Right?
there are wetsuits for bigger guys.
Yeah, you
so
just have to find them.
you just say, yeah, exactly, and you need to try it on so that you can see what it feels like and how it drives and things like that. So
I feel very much the same about that.
Yeah.
And then in terms of new brands coming out, and maybe this is what we're looking at for the next section, which is predictions for 2023.
Yeah, tell us more about 2023.
moving
What can we
forward.
expect for 2023? What's going on?
Well, nothing's going to change in terms of demand. Demand is going to continue to rise, especially in British Columbia. We lead in new vehicle purchases in all Canada.
I think Canada do. In fact, they're Canada's probably the only place I've seen, especially in Vancouver, where there's like more Teslas than gas cars. I swear to God, there must be more Teslas everywhere I turn around. Apart from trucks, there's still been a lot of trucks, but I swear, British Columbia, I see everywhere I go, there's going to be like at least 4 or 5 Teslas, and it's more than ever I've seen. In the UK, it's probably less.
In my complex here, I can see 3 Teslas
right away.
Yeah,
I know.
Right away. And there are a number of Kias, there are a number of Leafs in garages all over my complex.
Right.
So they're here. They're all here. And in the next complex, also more. So EVs are maybe a small percentage now, but in my particular neighborhood, you're pushing 20%.
Yeah, 20 in here, especially around here. I think I go downstairs to the parking lot, right?
Yeah,
parking area. Every 5 minutes, everywhere I turn around, there's like 2 Teslas, another Tesla here, Tesla
or something
everywhere.
else that you aren't sure if it's an EV, but it is.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, right?
And talk about luxury, because there's another luxury car I forgot to mention, is the Porsche EV. Is it called the Taycan?
The Taycan.
Hybrids, are they?
The Taycan is a full EV. There is a family over here that has some visiting. The son visits.
Yeah,
he's in a Taycan.
Yeah, I mean Taycan.
He switched from another vehicle. I noticed that he ditched his BMW. Now he's driving a Taycan.
Oh, and the BMW iX. They're starting to come. They're starting to come everywhere now. Yeah,
they're starting to become available.
Wow.
En masse. They're probably more like the dealership people taking them out for burns. It's harder to find, but they are delivering slowly.
Yeah.
And then of course, with all of these new EVs coming out, you're going to have a place in which to charge them. And right now, there are a lot of stations going up.
Oh yeah.
Just recently, within a 1 month period, there's this intersection that I always cross when I go into Langley, and that's 286. There are now 2 new chargers at the Shell station under the Shell Recharge brand, and then across the street there's a Chevron. The
Right.
Chevron has On the Run, which is basically their brand for food and drinks, and also they're attached to a white spot.
Okay. So
So they
you
have,
get like a convenience
yeah,
store for buying supplies and stuff
yeah.
like that. Okay.
But you can also sit down. It's a restaurant.
Mhm.
So restaurant and the convenience store and the gas station are all in one. The only missing piece was having the EV people up there, because once you are charging your vehicle, you're going to want to go to lunch.
Yeah, that's true.
And they have 6 new chargers. They're going up. They'll be ready in 2 weeks, I believe.
So BC is doing a lot of in chargers, charger installations and things like that. So to boost up that kind of for EV drivers.
2 chains.
Mhm.
Sorry, 3 chains. 3 chains right now. So we've got Shell, Chevron, and Petro-Canada are making a run for it right now. Petro-Canada was the first to kind of do 50 stations across Canada, but now Petro-Canada has raised their rates and also have pledged to increase the reliability of their chargers.
Mhm.
It was a big rate increase. It was from 27 cents to 50 cents a minute now.
Right,
It's quite a bit. It's almost it's 40%. But they say that they're going to increase the reliability of their charging systems and also increase the amenities nearby. So any of the Petro-Canadas that are now not set up properly, or the training isn't set up inside the store, they're going to spend a bunch of money to get that done. Again, this is Suncor. This is a Calgary company. This is where, like, all the energy companies come from Alberta. So they are now making a pledge to do that. Their shareholders said, keep it. This is a viable business, and they're going to make an effort of it.
I mean, if they increase the prices, I prefer, not just increase the prices and do nothing. Increase the prices, but install better and have more chargers. I accept that. That's fine, because you're using that money to invest back into it, right?
Well, that's been the major criticism of Petro-Canada, is that they decided to put out a bunch of chargers, but they didn't maintain them. And people have been constantly disappointed with the service. Some people have been stranded because they were trusting that charger was available for the run across Canada, and unfortunately it was out of service. They attribute this to part shortages because of COVID. They did choose a charging system that was not the same as all of the more major setups. They're used in co-ops and also Petro-Canada. I haven't seen them in any other station in any other charging setups. I think they are made by a European company, but I think that because of the deployment in North America, limited to them, it's been a challenge.
Right.
However, what Chevron has done, Chevron actually has battery backup in their systems as well. They're using charging stations that come from a company called Tritium, and they have deployed chargers through the ChargePoint charging network. They're in the US already. They've been there for ages. They're in Canada. They've been there for ages. So there's lots of parts. There's lots of service that people know how to fix them. And I think that's kind of the key, is that they picked more reliable chargers to go to their stations, and they put more chargers than Petro-Canada. At each Petro-Canada, there's a minimum of 2 stalls. Right at that station, I noticed they actually had a minimum of 3, and each station has 2 guns. Okay. So literally 6 then. 6. Yeah. 6 potentially, right? So this is a very, very exciting, because now this summer coming up, you're going to have double the amount of charging stations, because at Chevron stations, I didn't even notice that they put these up, but they came online within 2 calendar months. So I've noticed that on their map, they already have 5 chargers online. I have like locations they're getting these chargers put in, and each of them has a convenience store. You can get food and drink if you're not looking to like sit down and eat, and they also have the white spot experience over there, so you can get your burgers and then you're good to go. Like, I mean, I'll tell you right now that I will change my habits to hit those stations now, because they have the amenities. They have the amenities and everything. I understand. This is exactly what Europe, Finland, Norway, and other places, their stops are full service areas where you can get whatever you want. You come to UK, we were driving to the service station. The inside, there's an arcade, there's a restaurant, there's a shopping area,
not like a mall, but convenience stores,
Yeah.
supplies, getting your supplies and stuff like that. And it's in
It's
fact
done
the next,
proper.
exactly, in the restaurant. And also in the next road or next block down is they have the hotels, the hotels they ready.
That's right.
Yeah.
And right now, once they get this deployed, there will be one charging station
Mhm.
on major routes within 150 to 200 kilometers of each other,
Wow,
all the way to Alberta and
that's good.
beyond.
That's good.
So very exciting for people that
It
are
is
traveling
exciting.
back and forth from Alberta and
Yeah.
BC. I'm very excited about some of the chargers they're going up into the interior of BC as well too, up north. I've noticed that there's new BC Hydro charging stations all the way up there.
Hmm.
So it'll make exploring northern BC a lot better. This is a place that I've never even driven my gas powered car up to. So with an EV, I can relax, hear the sounds of nature, and visit some of these places that I actually never visited.
Having that BC experience versus experience driving through Alberta is another totally different experience.
Oh yeah.
So with an EV now, with all those petrol stations or gas stations with the chargers, you should be able to enjoy that, hopefully.
So along with all the infrastructure coming in, we have to talk about if you can get your car next year. So right now the waiting list is 1 to 3 years. Well, guess what? Like I was talking about in the Lucid example, you may be putting your money down for the Peer, but you might actually want the next one up. So as they extend the lineup, you may want to just move one over.
Yeah.
Or you might want to change brands altogether. VinFast is coming to Canada. I just saw a ship full of their cars. And they've already set up service centers in Richmond, Surrey, New Westminster, and a few other places all over the Lower Mainland. They are serious. They're gonna be deploying these vehicles in service centers and also in showrooms by the beginning of next year. So maybe you'll be in a VinFast instead of a Kia. Maybe you'll be in a Polestar because now you're aware of the brand name. It's just a matter of distribution. So you were sure you wanted the Model 3? Are you sure? What about a Polestar?
You can try others.
What about that?
Yeah.
The glove has to fit. There are so many different people. There's so many different people. There's so many different wetsuits. And surfing does not suck.
You just need to give it a try, do a test drive, see how you feel for you.
If it feels right, that's the vehicle for you. And right now, there are not enough vehicles, wetsuits for people.
Yeah, but next year though, there'll be plenty to try.
There will be new vehicles.
I'm starting seeing adverts on Facebook and Twitter. Hey, come and try Kia EV6. Another one says, "Hey, ID4 to put your deposit down," and stuff like that.
Yeah. So next year, 2023, we're going to see a lot of changes in people's tastes and preferences, especially in BC. You're also going to see a lot of people across Canada finally getting their first EVs.
Yeah.
And you're also seeing doubling to tripling of the capacity of charging stations, at least in my limited view, because I only pay attention to Western Canada. We are seeing more charging stations up and down BC, up and down Alberta. I want to be able to travel without worrying like I do in a gas vehicle with charging stations every 150 to 200 kilometers. They're reliable with more than one supplier.
True.
That's coming soon. So I think we've talked enough about this.
Oh, yeah.
This is basically the EV show for 2022. We basically wrapped up all of our thoughts on what the EV market looks like in Western Canada at the very least, a little bit globally, and of course some interesting anecdotes about why you should get into an EV and maybe why you shouldn't for right now. And if you're looking for myself, you can find and to yell at me, of course, and talk about Elon.
He's the EV expert, right?
I'm not an expert.
I go to him with all my EV questions, and that is
I'll take your question. I'll take your questions on Twitter, the chaotic Elon Hellscape at Stephen Fung, or you can find me on Instagram, where I am at the more softer and supple hands of Mark Zuckerberg, at Stephen Fung on Instagram as well too. If there's any questions at all, you can fire me a DM. Just don't be creepy about it, and then I will try to answer your question for you. And as the summer rolls around, or if I get invited to any EV unveilings, you can definitely see what I think about some of the latest vehicles in my feed as well too. Now, Winston, What do you got?
Yeah, so I'm all about, lifestyle and things like that. So if you guys are driving any of those luxury EVs, I want to hear about it. You can find me at Twitter at Winston Chim, and also at Instagram. You could post some nice EV premium cars there at Winston Chim as well.
And on that bombshell, it is time to end. Thank you so much for watching the YouTube exclusive, our podcast show with Stephen and Winston. And make sure that you subscribe to the channel, because that's the only way that we can let you know that the next show is coming up. Until then, stay tuned for our next episode, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you soon.
Bye for now.
Take care. Bye-bye.